Peace to all of the divine primordial deities. Y'all already know what it is. I am not here for the dead. I am only here for the awakened. If it resonates, let it marinate. If it don't apply, let it fly. Now let's get deep. Now you know it's bad, and I mean bad, bad, when the so-called powers that be start to fight and all they dirty laundry get aired out. This all started back when Hillary went to running for office. And have you ever wondered why the Orange Man was so focused on getting those 30,000 emails? Well, those 30,000 emails was connected to the same thing that was happening in the Epstein files. But you see how the Orange Man wanted to get them to discredit her. But the whole time, your name in the Epstein files over 38,000 times. That just goes to show you all of them that you see on TV, from politics to actors, to entertainers, to presidents, and on up, is all involved. Like the Bible say, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and wickedness in high places. This entire system is corrupt, and it needs to be destroyed from the bottom up. Whole foundation needs to be wiped out, because just taking out Epstein and people like Puff Daddy ain't enough. Because see, they're just two pawns on the board, which means that if you don't clear the board, the pawns that's left on the board can be used to initiate this same evil. So which means that the game must be completely cleared out, and it must be a restart. This entire system and all of their parasitic bloodlines must be wiped out. There must be a reset, because all of these people that is in these high positions is involved. And this is why they are taking their time with releasing these Epstein files in increments, because they are all involved. And I believe they are trying to get their little houses in order to probably try to find a way to get away. But see, what they fail to realize is that when it comes to the divine, ain't no escaping this ass whooping. See, their dirty laundry will be aired out to the world. And that is exactly what's happening. These last 500 years that these vampires, and yes, hear me clearly, that been in power have turned this entire land to a farm. And they have turned us into livestock. Remember them describing us being live cattle? Because America is one big farm and we are considered the animals. They have been coming after our children and us. But then in the daytime, they're on our television screen, act like they're fighting for justice or they're right or they're doing something right. But these people are psychopaths and they are evil. Y'all forget that those who came over here with Christopher Columbus were convicts. They were criminals. And those who are running this land are descendants of them. So that same evil and diabolical behavior is just being passed down from generations to generations in their bloodline. So we need, honestly, a final destination of the bloodlines that must be completely wiped out. Because see, these parasitic bloodlines, which is these vampires, and hear me clearly, vampires, they've been using us as a food source the entire time, and that's what y'all failed to realize. They was the force behind slavery. They was the ones that was living in the Confederate States. They pushed racism. They started it. It wasn't just a money thing to them. They needed a continuation of a food supply. If y'all was aware of Hitler, y'all knew that Hitler called them bloodsuckers. And he also described them as being a parasitic race of beings. And he did not want to mix with them. Ask yourself why. And then Putin just came out last year talking about how the elite of America have gotten fattened off the flesh of humans. Human flesh. Got their bellies full of human flesh. And then he stated after that, their vampire ball is getting ready to end. It's been in y'all faces the whole time. Y'all been looking at reptilians, but reptilians ain't your problem. But Bobby told a lot of y'all that. And y'all swear y'all are conscious and y'all follow the master teacher. But if you really follow him, he told you that we was the reptilians. Something that I have been researching for a while. and only to discover it's ourselves. We too busy worrying about the spookism that we would never come to the realism, because many of our people claiming to be conscious, but you're still running from yourself. The reptilians is the draconians, which is the serpent people, which goes back to the draconian typhodian realm, which deals with the great mother. Why you think you have a reptilian brain? Why do you think that your skin is scaly? Why do you think when you are in the womb, when you start off, it resembles a reptile? Through our evolution, that's what we were before we evolved to this. You are the reptilian Nagai people, which is the dragon people. But you don't have to believe me. See, the confusion has been y'all thinking that the reptilians is the problem. But have you ever really seen a vampire other than what America paint the image of a vampire to be? Because from my understanding, they're creatures. They're parasites that was turned into being humans. Aleister Crowley already had told you there's forms of sex magic and rituals and whatnot, using the woman's body as an altar to bring these beings forth. It's called Moonchild. See, but what y'all fail to realize, the vampire's been here for a long time. That's another topic for a later day. But the reason why the North and the South was fighting, we had that civil war, because the vampires did not want to stop slavery. They wanted the continuation of the food supply. And see, and Abraham Lincoln knew that. This is why in the midst of the Civil War, he filed for the proclamation of emancipation to free the slaves up, because he knew they were eating us and he was trying to stop their food flow. So the so-called powers that be, they are fighting amongst one another, and they've been fighting. Doesn't mean that any of them is good, but the North wanted to create a system. But see, they worked it out, didn't they? Because you have so many millions and pawns on the board, can be used as the fall guy to cover these evil vampires up. Something do get exposed. They are working together. Even though Abraham Lincoln freed us up from them. So this fight and this spiritual war between these so-called powers, the moment they stepped on this ground, why you think that we had the most harshest form of slavery, chattel? And see, for all of y'all who was listening to my video on the Golden Dome, and y'all was like, oh, the Anunnaki, they can take the sun. What is she talking about? And I told y'all they came over here mining for gold because the atmosphere was deteriorating. And I told y'all they could not take the sun. They're vampires, not reptilians. Is it starting to click? Just because they look like us don't mean that they are us. They're parasites. But the Rosicrucians told y'all that it was an ancient African people that went rogue. But it's obvious that a lot of people don't like to read and read between the lines. But anywho, they're taking their time with dropping them files, because everybody is involved. And I mean everybody. In a minute, everything finna start coming out. They're gonna start fighting amongst one another. People you see on TV, CNN, the news, because they are trying to cover their behinds. But in order for you to even get on TV and hit that certain bracket of money, you got to be involved in occults and brotherhood, which means that you participate in this stuff that happens in the Epstein files. So none of you are innocent. And quite frankly, a lot of you are doubles and been gone a long time ago. So yeah, they know their time is up. Now parents is really catching on. These schools is behind it. Make you just want to rip your children out of the school, huh? Because I believe that's what's next. Parents taking their children out of these schools. It's time for us to disconnect from this system and protect our children, because they're after them and us. This is a war, and their time is up.